Hi, this is Paula. Okay, I'm ready to go now. So let's get these canes going. And I'll do each one of these individually and do 3 separate tutorials on them so you can watch each of them and stop them and start it as needed. So let's start with the flower cane. This cane is made from our bullseye cane. And this one I had to redo, so it's white with pink, fuchsia pink with white in it. Had to redo all of my canes since the canes I used last night didn't show up on the video. But I just cut it down the middle. And I am going to put a black center in this. Now I didn't cut it all the way through because this is going to be that little part in the flower leaf. That little stripy thing in the flower leaf. And you can add more than one if you want to. For right now, since this is beginning caning, I'm only going to add one. And you can see I didn't take it all the way up to the top on either end. And I'm going to just cut off the extra right here. And I've made this 5 inches long because I'm going to put this up and I'm going to bring my fingers and pinch this one side where I put that black stripe in. And you can use any color of bullseye canes. You can use any colors of little stripes. It doesn't matter. You know, nature just has showed us that we can use any colors we want to with things. Okay, I'm just making a little point because that's going to be the inside part of the petal leaf. And there we go. I'm going to set it out on my measuring thing, my board. And this is a We Are Memory Keepers glass grid board. I got it at Michael's with a 50% coupon, and I think I paid $8 for it. So it's a good thing to work on, and you have your measurements right there. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's take that one off of there. Okay, now I'm going to make my points a little bit more sharper to give me more of a petal shape. I'm not going to touch the back end of it because I still want that roundness there. And I will set them up like a flower. There's 3. All you have to do is pinch that clay up, and you've got your registration line right there to show you where your black stripe is. This one's an easy one, so you can see it. And there's 4, and this is going to be the last one. Okay, there's my flower, but what's it missing? It's missing an inside. So I took a yellow, and I rolled it out into a log a little bit larger than this, plain yellow. I wrapped it in a thin sheet. I think I took my machine down to a 5 or 6 setting, and 1 and 0 being my whitest setting, and rolled it up. Then I rolled out the log and reduced it down to where I thought it'd be the size it'd be the inside part of that flower. So I have, let's see if I can get a cleaner cut on that so you can see it. There you go. I have 4 different bullseye canes in there just to give a little bit of texture and fanciness to my flower, but you don't have to. If you want to do a solid color with another color over top of it, bullseye cane, go on and do it. But the 4 or 5 inside there, that's fairly easy. And I know that my petals here are around 1 inch tall. So I'm going to cut this a little bit over 1 inch. And I will place my petals back around it. This one seems to need more pinched. I didn't pinch it enough. Now that looks better. Okay, there's my flower. This is an easy flower. And I know you've watched videos of tutorials of other flowers out there that are more complicated, but this frying pan challenge is for the beginners. And the more advanced people, of course, can get in on it. That's not the thing, but what I want to do is share the world of caning, which is fascinating, to people that's afraid of it, don't know how to do it, or whatever. Okay, we have some gaps in here where the petals come up, and remember, we want to keep our petals round. So we have to fill in those gaps. I'm going to fill it in with translucent. You can fill it in with a different color. You can fill it in with your fuchsia pink color. You can do whatever you want. But because I do a lot of ink pens and things, when I put flowers on a background piece of clay and I burnish that flower on there or object on there, when I bake it, I want the color of the flowers coming out and not necessarily what I packed it in. So I'm going to, this is translucent, Primo translucent. I rolled it out on a number 1. I just folded it a little bit to give it enough, and we can't have any air pockets in there. So I took it all the way up to the black center. See on there, it's all the way up to the black center. And I'm going to do that all the way around to make sure that there's no spaces in between my petals. Just going to do that all the way around. And I'm going to fold my translucent and squish it so it doesn't have any air in it. Air is not your friend in polymer clay. And I cut this translucent to begin with after I rolled it out into strips that were about the size of what my petals were, so I'd know, what widths to use. So I wouldn't have a lot of trimming to do. Okay, there. I've got, no I don't. Right here's one I didn't get. Almost missed that one, didn't I? Okay. Now I'm just going to take my fingers and press in a little bit. I don't want to distort the shape of the petals, but I need for all of that translucent clay to be inside each petal, and again, all the way up to the black center on both sides. When you're doing caning and making your canes like this, check both sides often to make sure that, they're doing the same thing on both sides. Now to help hold it together, because I'm going to reduce this, and I'm sure you'll reduce yours too. Now that I have my curves all even, I'm going to go around and just put a strip of translucent all the way around there. And we'll take that extra and put it around there too. And I have a centerpiece I cut just in case this one wasn't wide enough, and it's not. So I'm going to go back through and I'm going to wrap this one around there because I want the petals, all the outside part of the petals all covered in translucent. Because when you go to reducing this and you're pushing in on it and stuff, you do want it to stay together. Now I have one more piece of translucent that's fairly wide, and I'm going to put it around there as well. Okay, so I have translucent wrapped. Let me get this piece, put it around this side so it'll be even. There we go. Now I have translucent cane, translucent clay wrapped all the way around my cane. And I'm just going to start pushing in on the middle to start reducing it. Now I'm not going on and show you how to reduce a cane. That'll be in another video or something down the line, I'm sure. But you can find it on YouTube. Go in and look for like reducing round canes and polymer clay, or you know, whatever. And the best thing to use, let me see if I have one here. I do. The best thing to do in reducing canes is Tiny Pandora's cane caps. And she has them in round, square, and triangle. And what you do with these is you put them on the end of your clay. So this is a round one, so I put one on this end and one on the other end. And when I squeezed, make sure that cap's on there, like sectioned on there. And when I squeeze, it doesn't distort the end of my clay, because this will suck in. The center sucks in deeper than the edges, and you can lose a lot of clay like that. So this one you can reduce it down as small as you want, and these come in different sizes. If you have I think the largest one's like a 2 or 2.5 inch circle, and so if you have the cane caps on there, it's not going to do that. I love Teresa's cane caps. It has saved me a lot of clay. Okay, let's see what we have here. Take the cane cap off, and I just put my nail under it. And let me take this down and we'll see what's there, because it looks totally different once you slice it. Now don't go reducing all of these canes really small this time. Okay, there's my flower. So when I slice this to put it on a backing of clay, this slice is really, really thin, and that's where your Lucy clay slicer comes in handy, because I can't slice a roll of clay, a square clay, or a triangle of clay evenly. And when you bake it, it's so thin that the translucent just like disappears. So if you're putting this on a pen and have, like, say a black background on it, then that translucent clay fades into the black and all you see is the flower. So that's the flower cane. Make as many of them as you want. You're going to need them for the next part of this challenge. So make 3 or 4 different colors and kinds and stuff. And we'll get on to the next video. Happy caning!